Another day, another Dodge video. Alright, today I'm tackling something that's not exactly hard to find on YouTube, but as you can see, sway bar links. And I guess the focus of this, more so than the process, will be the end result with this Advanced Auto Parts brand, DriveWorks. And I guess just so you know, 2012 Dodge Caravan, this is the model number that shows up. And that actually covers a pretty broad range for the Caravan model years. So, as you can tell, even from this video, should be fairly clear, the DriveWorks here, which maybe you can't tell, this thing comes out of the bag it was in. It is pre-greased, it is covered in oil, so definitely no rust inside that bag, but it seems to be a much higher quality right out of the box. Much like buying a Moog component in the past, which is what I would have gone with, but this had a pretty decent number of good reviews, and I think some of the Moog sway bars I bought for my last vehicle have actually worn out prematurely. So I gave these a try based on the reviews, and I mean, looking at it now, it doesn't seem like too badly of a made product. The exposed back end of this, I guess that's probably where the ball sits in the back of that, no idea. But you can see there is one hole for the grease fitting, and same on the back, or bottom I should say. And those little guys are included right here. I did peel this back. I'm not going to get my hands covered in this stuff, but it is pre-greased. So whatever the comments may say, the two that I've purchased, there's our second guy up there, they are already greased. So I just need to screw these fittings in and get on with it. So with that being said, bad sway bar links. These swivel way too easy, and just like on my Mazda, I was able to grab this bar and move it by hand while it was still bolted onto the suspension system. When you get new sway bar links, they are nice and firm. Now, you get a good two-hand grip on that, it's going to move, but feeling pretty good about that. The more tools you got, the better. Some rust eater especially. Get you a nice deep 18 millimeter. 19 3/4 will work, but you got to be super careful because these are 18s, both this nut and your fixed bolt on the back of there. Sorry, I'm not sure what to phrase that as. So what you see here should be enough to get the old one off and the new one on. And let's just set this back up and I'll show you what I have to go through. I always like to use both jacks, and you can see I left the original jack mounted right there. Place the jack stand to the side, and before you dismantle the original sway bar, make sure you're supporting the wheel hub. And once you've pulled the old one out and you're ready to mount the new one, you're going to use this here to adjust your height so you can catch it right. I had my 18 millimeter open-end wrench set on this side and my socket on the back side, and the same thing at the top. I don't think I have to explain how that works, but there's enough tension in this assembly already that I was able to tighten this down completely without having to use the secondary wrench on the back. The socket snugged right up, and I was done. They screwed right on quicker than I could even waste time to show you on video. I'll throw my tire back on and move to the next side. Well, so far the driver's side has been the more difficult, and I'm only on this first bolt, which sucks because this is the short one. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can see how I've positioned my wrench here, the ratchet on the outside, and the this thing is rusted on, so I've already soaked it a few times, and you're going to want to use as long a wrench as you can find. So the top end, at least with it, I'm able to use my nice large breaker bar here. Not really a breaker bar, but it's huge. So if you don't have a wrench that big, you should get one. This actually broke off much easier. I don't know. I mean, things down towards the ground tend to get nastier and rust worse. But this is beginning much like the passenger side did. And as I said there, the bottom bolt is the small one. You have fewer threads to deal with because of the size of the sway bar. This, you have more thread to contend with. So the passenger side started off nice, and you'll get a few threads in, and all that junk and crud really starts to fight with you. So you'll be able to get to a certain extent letting the vice grips hit the top of the strut. There's going to come a point though, as this gets loose, it's going to flip around. This is ready to fall off now finally, but it has been a bear. So breaker bar, shoving my knee up against it, it has been much more difficult than the passenger. And this is what I've got set up here. I just needed something to help me keep tension on this wrench so that I could spin the ratchet. And again, like I said, breaker bar for an extension, and using my knee because this will wear you out, at least if you're a 150-pound guy like me. And some people wouldn't believe I was 150. So my advice is cut this off. Once you get enough thread started, if you got a Sawzall, get rid of it. There's no point. Definitely not as lucky as the other side. I did have to use my 18 on the back of that to hold it steady. At least in this case, it will rest against the strut, so you've got less strain. You can use both hands to get this thing tight. Use your secondary jack so you can set this just right. You don't want to make it any harder than it has to be. 18 millimeters front and back, and this job is done. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment below.